La, 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 la.
Most goals scored in the league. Top for expected goals. Best XG difference. Second best defense. Scored in every single away game. Top for shots per game. Top for points per game. Failed to score in only one match all season. By the rankings, this was one of the most dangerous Liverpool teams ever assembled. But here's the catch. This wasn't supposed to happen. Just a year ago, Liverpool wasn't preparing for another title charge. They were saying goodbye. Jürgen Klopp wasn't just handing over a team, he was handing over a legacy. A club he rebuilt from rubble, a fan base he healed. When he walked off the pitch for the final time, he left a hole so big, it felt like the soul of Anfield had gone with him. Fans expected a world-class manager, a big name, or at least the return of Xabi Alonso, someone who could carry the weight of history. Instead, they got Arne Slot, Feyenoord's coach. No Premier League experience, no Champions League pedigree, no global reputation, and worst of all, he wasn't Klopp. The world expected Liverpool to fall apart, but what they got was a quiet revolution, calculated, fearless. 6 months in, Anfield was alive again. The pressing returned, the belief was back. And the twist? Slot didn't follow a blueprint. He built his own, his system, his tempo, his rules. And in just one season, Arne Slot revived England's greatest club in his own way. The final season of Jurgen Klopp wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't a fairy tale either. Liverpool looked like a team running on fumes. Injuries mounted, the midfield felt patched together, moments of brilliance were still there, but the sharpness, the relentlessness, the fear factor was fading. And in the moment of it all, Klopp announced he was leaving, ready to hand over the reins because he had nothing left to give.
Running out of energy. I have no problem now. Obviously, I think I know it already for longer, that I will have to announce that at one point. But I'm absolutely fine now. But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
It was the end of an era. This was the man who gave Liverpool everything. A Champions League, a Premier League, and most of all, he made Liverpool feared again. So naturally, his replacement was supposed to be elite, but instead, they got Arne Slot, a name few fans could even pronounce. And yet, Liverpool's new football committee didn't blink. They wanted more than star power. They wanted someone who fit the club's values, not a Klopp clone, but a true successor. Slot ticked every box behind the scenes. He was a student of the game, a former midfielder with a modest playing career in the Dutch leagues. Steady, intelligent, nothing flashy. But once he stepped into coaching, things changed fast. After a short stint at AZ Alkmaar, where he impressed with attacking football and player development, Slot took over a broken Feyenoord side in 2021. In 3 seasons, he transformed them. High pressing, positional play, relentless transitions. He turned Feyenoord into one of the most watchable teams in Europe. In 2023, he delivered the Eredivisie title, the club's first in 6 years. He followed it up with the Dutch Cup and a strong European run, reaching the Conference League final and pushing top sides in the Europa League. But what stood out the most? His teams didn't just win, they believed. Slot preached intensity with the ball and bravery without it.
And those ideas, I know you have a couple of coaches that, did they really influence you, or did you have your own ideas?
Yeah, I think you're influenced with the managers you've worked with. But I think my last few seasons when I was a player, I always felt if one of my teammates played a certain ball, that would lead to a chance. And then I started thinking, hey, is there logic behind what I think is true? And then I was lucky enough that in that period of time there was of course the Barcelona team from Pep Guardiola. Yeah. I saw that they did 10 out of 10 times the pattern that my teammates and me did 2 out of 10 times maybe. So that brought me to an idea in ball possession where I felt like, okay, this is the idea I have now, how can I transmit this to my players, make it really simple for them to understand the game in the same way as I thought I understood it. I think it was all somewhere around that time that I met up with Pepijn Leijners, former assistant of Jürgen, who sat in this office. I did my courses and all these kind of things, but I think I learned the most when it comes to training exercises because of that meeting we had, and we spoke about his ideas, my ideas, how to translate that.
He was really important for you in that stage.
Yeah, it was interesting to meet with him because they had similar ideas about the way they wanted to play, but also similar ideas in terms of training sessions. And he just made me creative by saying, oh, I've got in this exercise, I've got this rule, or in that exercise, I've got that rule. And that just opens up a complete new world again, because then you can look at every exercise you have in a different way. And I think what helped me most was having conversations with certain people, where Pepijn Leijnders was one of them, watch a lot of football and my own experience.
That philosophy, it's exactly what caught Liverpool's eye. Not just what he won, but how he won. And yet, what impressed even more was the maturity shown during his first interview. Slot wasn't here to erase Klopp's work. He acknowledged the legacy, respected it, but made it clear he wasn't here to imitate. He understood the weight of what he was walking into.
And you have to influence the most because you have to influence your players coming to K model and your game plan. And I think that's where it's all about, to find a way of playing which suits the players best, and then adjust maybe with the game plan a bit where we can win a few things. But that's all tactical, and I think there's something else towards being a head coach or a manager, the way you want to call it, and that is the relations you have with people, relationship I have with my staff, but also the players, how they get along with each other, and the relation between staff and players. And I think this was one of the things, looking at it from the outside, where Jürgen was great at as well, apart from playing style. And that is a challenge, because I'm 100% sure that many people who are still at this club still love him, and we have to find a way that people get used to me and used to the new staff that's coming in, and get the same energy in this building and eventually into the stadium as well.
There was no ego, no need to dominate headlines, just a coach obsessed with detail, walking into a storm with a quiet kind of confidence. And that was exactly what Liverpool needed. Klopp's football was heavy metal. From the first whistle, it felt like war. Every player sprinting like it was the 90th minute on a Champions League final. Lose the ball, you had 5 seconds to win it back or die trying. It was beautiful chaos, unpredictable, wild, breathtaking, and for years, it broke teams, mentally and physically. But that kind of football comes with a price. Players burn out. Arne Slot didn't try to copy Klopp's chaos, he shaped it. Same energy, same intensity, but now with control. Think Pep's calm build-up, mixed with Klopp's fire. Fullbacks move inside, wingers stretched wide. Midfielders danced between the lines. This was a team pressing with purpose. And for the first time in years, Liverpool didn't just feel fast in transition. They felt in control. Within weeks, the change was visible. The passes were sharper, the patterns more intricate. The chaos, still there, but now it had choreography. Trent Alexander-Arnold was already a creative force under Klopp, drifting into midfield to break lines. Under Slot, he plays wider, more like a traditional right-back, but with the freedom to move inside when the moment's right. From that right side, he still sprays killer passes, switches play with ease, and when the game calls for it, he drifts inside, not out of duty, but out of instinct. It's not about forcing new roles, it's about freedom within structure. Dominik Szoboszlai became the team's engine. Always running, always pressing, famous for his thunderous shots. Szoboszlai now focused more on shape and balance under Slot. His energy, passing, and intelligence made him one of the first names on the team sheet. But if Szoboszlai brought power and control, then Ryan Gravenberch brought something else entirely. A surprise. A shift no one saw coming. Let's just say his transformation under Slot deserves a story of its own. And we'll get into that soon. And then there was Alexis Mac Allister, the calm in the storm. Every time the pitch got messy, he made it clean. Every time the game got frantic, he made it elegant. Slot didn't just make players better, he made them believe in their roles again. Under Klopp, they were sometimes overwhelmed. Under Slot, they outsmarted you. and the fear returned, but in a new way. It wasn't panic-inducing chaos. It was the quiet dread of precision. Arne Slot wasn't just reinventing tactics. He was reprogramming an entire football machine, and the deeper you looked, the scarier it got. By the halfway point of the season, Liverpool were not just competing, they were dominating. They went 26 league matches unbeaten, a longer run than even Pep Guardiola's Manchester City have ever managed in a single season. And suddenly, what looked like a transition year started to feel like a title charge. Arne Slot isn't your typical philosopher coach. He doesn't die on the hill of one idea. A tactician who doesn't force his system on the game. He listens to it. Some managers stick to one plan and hope it works every week. Not Slot. He changes not just game to game, but moment to moment. High press, when the opponent looks scared on the ball. Mid-block, when patience is smarter than pressure. Deep block, when baiting the other team is part of the trap. For Slot, football is a chessboard, and he's 3 moves ahead before the whistle even blows. Every match is a puzzle. Every formation shift has a reason. He doesn't care about looking clever. He cares about winning the moment. Against Manchester City, a team that loves to keep the ball and wear you down, Slot didn't try to outpass them just to prove a point. He let them have the ball, pulled his team back, closed the spaces in the middle, and then, out of nowhere, bang! Liverpool hit back with speed, breaking through City like they weren't even there. Against low blocks, he knew forcing the middle would get him nowhere, so he stretched the pitch, used wide overloads, rotated the midfield constantly, pulling defenders out of shape until the wall finally cracked. If Liverpool looked flat in the first half, they came back after halftime like a different team, full of energy, attacking with everything they had. Slot didn't panic. He watched, waited, then pulled a tactic lever that flipped the entire match. A full back tucked into midfield to create an extra body in build-up. A double pivot turned into a pressing trio. A pressing trigger changed, and suddenly the opponents were pinned in their own box. He didn't need to shout. He didn't need to throw his arms around. Slot didn't go for big, risky moves. He made small, smart changes, one after the other. Little tweaks that slowly wore teams down until they had nothing left to fight with. Arne Slot showed he could be pragmatic when it mattered, adjusting the plan, not chasing perfection. He read each game like a story, changing the script when needed. Jürgen Klopp was pure emotion, a motivator, a leader, a man who could lift a whole stadium with one fist pump. Arne Slot was different. Every player knows their job. Every player knows why it matters. He doesn't need to fire players up. He gives them direction. He gives them belief. And then he watches them grow. Slot doesn't try to be their friend or their hero. He listens, he studies, and gives them the right role, even if it's not the one they expected. Because to Slot, every player is like a puzzle piece. And once it clicks, the whole team fits together. Slot didn't just come to Liverpool with a shopping list of stars. There was no superstar arrival, no flashy rebuild, not even one impactful transfer. He took what he had and transformed it from the inside out. Of all the transformations under Slot, none hit harder than Ryan Gravenberch. A year ago, he looked like a player with nowhere to go. Stuck between positions, out of rhythm, and barely trusted to start. Klopp played him higher up as a number 8, but he never quite found his timing or place in the rhythm of the team. Under Slot, everything changed. For the first time, he had a clear identity on the pitch. Slot took a risk. He dropped Gravenberch into the number 6 role, a gamble few expected, a decision that changed everything. From deeper, Gravenberch found space to receive under pressure, to turn with calm, to carry the ball through chaos. He stitched defense to attack with smart passing, slowed the tempo when needed, then burst forward like a spark when the game called for it. Suddenly, he wasn't just playing matches, he was running them. And with Gravenberch deeper, Mac Allister could push forward, just like he does for Argentina. And just like that, it all made sense. It wasn't perfect. There were moments like the 3-3 draw at Newcastle, where high pressure caught him out. But that's the beauty of it. Ryan Gravenberch didn't just find form under Slot. He became one of the best midfielders in Europe. Then there was Cody Gakpo. Under Klopp, he was used everywhere. False 9, right wing, even in midfield. And while he showed glimpses of brilliance, He never looked truly at home. Slot fixed that instantly, moving him back to the left wing, his natural spot. Suddenly, Gakpo was following, confident, direct, drifting inside, linking play, scoring goals. He looked reborn. And then, of course, there's Mo Salah. Slot didn't need to reinvent him, he just needed to build around him. Salah became the heart of the entire team. Slot's shape shifted to suit him, an asymmetric setup that kept Salah high and wide. No need to track back, just maximum height, minimum width, keeping him as close to the goal as possible at all times. Every attack flowed through him. He wasn't just the finisher, he was the outlet, the creator, the magnet. And the numbers? They speak out loud. Under Klopp's final season, Salah averaged 1 goal contribution every 118 minutes. Under Slot, 92 minutes per contribution, nearly 1 per game. He wasn't just scoring more, he was running the show. And the world noticed. At 32 years old, an age where most wingers start to fade, Salah is now a frontrunner for the Ballon d'Or and the PFA Player of the Year. Because under Slot, he didn't slow down. He reached a new level. Endo became the closer. Not flashy, not loud, but the player Slot turned to when the team needed to lock down a win. And then there was Curtis Jones, the ultimate team player. 1 week a number 8, the next week a number 10, the week after a right back. Sometimes more than one in the same game. Slot didn't play favorites. He didn't pick players for their names, he picked them for what they gave to the team. And in return, they gave him everything. Arne Slot will become the first Dutch manager to ever win the Premier League, and Virgil van Dijk, the first Dutch captain to lift the trophy. 2 firsts written into English football history. Under Slot, every player felt seen. They weren't just following instructions, they believed in the plan. And when a squad believes like that, they fight for more than wins. They fight for each other. Taking over from Jürgen Klopp wasn't a normal job. It came with pressure, with weight, with a fan base watching your every move, wondering if the magic could ever come back. But Slot didn't chase headlines. He didn't try to win over the fans with speeches or slogans. He got to work. He studied what made Liverpool tick: the intensity, the fight, the connection between players and supporters, and blended it into something new. Not louder, not bolder, just smarter. And inside the dressing room, the shift was immediate. The players felt it, the clarity, the trust, the way every detail had a purpose. And they bought in, fast. The questions faded, the doubts got quiet, and slowly, belief started to build again. Liverpool weren't just playing well, they were dominating. Most goals from open play, most clean sheets, second least goals conceded. Every number told the same story. This team didn't just win, they controlled, they suffocated. Besides that Everton goal, no last-minute chaos, just quiet control, week after week. Relentless pressing, calm build-up, sharp execution. And the best part? It felt sustainable. This wasn't a hot streak. This was a machine. At the start of the season, Opta gave them just a 5.1% chance of winning the Premier League. Manchester City were at 82.2%, Arsenal at 12.2%. Nobody believed, but they did. Through hard work, selflessness, and most of all, consistency. 20 times. That's how many English top-flight trophies Liverpool now have. Along with their 6 European Cups, they are now indisputably the biggest team in England. This isn't just impressive, it's historic. And Arne Slot did it all in year 1. They said he wasn't ready. They called him the next Ten Hag. But Arne Slot didn't imitate Klopp. He didn't crack under the weight of history. He trusted his style, he trusted his squad, and they trusted him back. He didn't rebuild Liverpool, he reimagined it. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a new era. Arne Slot, the man who reignited Anfield by daring to be his own kind of leader.